19 Keys, live from the Meridian Art Center in Toronto. And we are back just like that, Empire family. So remember, like, comment, and subscribe because you are not gonna want to miss any of this vlog. Highest level tour. Highest level conversations. No.
This tour should actually be global. This brother dropped some serious science.
For me, this is like the class that I'm going to be taking over.
That's what I find is the biggest issue, because it's not a person standing in your way. It's not some devil or some government or some evil person. It's just right there in front of you telling you what not to do and what to do. It's the internal processes of your own mind that command your actions.
He not just
have the power of our inner self. We have the power to control our outward reality. Right? And I want people to understand that from a higher perspective. So when you walk away today, you can walk away with strategies to try.
it's almost that time. Are you ready?
Shout out to 19 Keys. Shout out Keys, man. Everybody came to this event. Are we low level or high level? Are we low level or high level?
Hi Empire, so I'm just going to do a quick voiceover because I was unable to get the introduction of Priscilla, but she has sold over $200 million in real estate, as well as Gerard, that will be joining them very soon, has sold over $2 billion in real estate, and this is the real estate portion of the Highest Level Tour by 19 Keys in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Please welcome a young man who is truly one of a kind, my son, Gerard McQueen. So I want to know from you, how many of you want to make more money? You want to make more? Okay, all right. Then we're going to talk about that. So tell us, how do you become recession proof? And I'm wondering, what happens if you lose your 9-to-5 job? Do we have a backup plan? Can we still make it? Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. I mean, I come from a background where I once had a 9-to-5. I became an entrepreneur, but more so than that, I started to build wealth through real estate investments. And this is something that every single person here in this room can do. But what we want to do is we want to take a step back, because it's a challenging economic time right now. The market is down, and a lot of people are concerned. I mean, we see headlines everywhere. Everyone's very concerned. And part of our approach right now is how to become recession-proof.
So part of the way to become recession-proof is to make sure that you have your assets paying for your lifestyle. So if you have an opportunity to invest in whether it's stocks, bonds, or obviously in our case, in real estate, it's a great opportunity to be able to do that. And I also think we're discussing off stage is how to kind of reduce some of your overall expenditures that you have right now. Keep it low, so when the economic times are good again, you have an abundance of wealth to be able to use towards investments, rather than letting your expenses go and increase again, and now you're back where you started from.
Yeah, I feel like we're all in a sort of a habit of, when times are good, when the cash feels like it's flowing, we're spending more. But what you want to do is you want to really get your lifestyle down to a circumstance where you're actually able to live well within your means and have more money to engage in investing. I mean, we look at other communities where individuals are grouping together. They're participating in group economics. They're grouping together to share living expenses, in some cases sharing a home, in order to really keep expenses low. So they need to start creatively thinking about ways to increase revenue. One story that we had from our training with him 500, who's a marketing genius, quite frankly, and he had this idea where he took a smart car, and anyone can do this with any car, and there's probably real estate agents, there's mortgage brokers, there's people out there who want to advertise on a vehicle. Now, maybe you don't do this with your primary vehicle, maybe you do this with a secondary vehicle, whatever you've got, but he was getting people to basically offset the car payment by paying for advertising. Someone had their QR code for their real estate, website on their trunk of their car, and they were paying him $100 a month in order to just drive around the city, and someone could scan and see the person's logo. So there's just different avenues where we can creatively think about ways to increase revenue. Again, more money to play with if we want to get into investment.
And I thought that was a brilliant idea, because not only was he had the smart car and he was charging people to do advertising, then he actually rented out the smart car to someone who wanted to do DoorDash. So he had $100 or $200 payment. Now he was bringing in this extra revenue from having the marketing on one side and then allowing someone to rent out the vehicle to do DoorDash on the other. So these are great opportunities out here. And like my mom always used to say, necessity is the mother of invention. So it's a great time now to try to think of some ideas that will put you in a space so when times are good, you're ready to win.
Those are awesome suggestions. Tell me about RRSPs. How many of you have an RRSP? Can you raise your hand?
One opportunity with RSP, so just to kind of back up a second, just in case anyone's not familiar with it, an RRSP is a registered retirement savings plan. A lot of times people will invest privately to save for retirement. You get a tax write-off every time you invest in your RRSP annually. However, a lot of people also may not independently invest into their RRSP, but their company has a pension that they actually invest into. So every time you look at your pay stub, if you've got a 9-to-5 job, typically larger corporations or government workers will see a deduction. When I was working in the government many years ago, in totality they were taking $500 per month from my paycheck in order to invest in the company pension. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind and realize is that pension fund, so all the employees their money is being pooled into a pension fund, and what's the pension company doing? They're investing that money in the market. They're buying real estate assets, huge amounts of real estate. All those office towers downtown, pension funds own those office towers, and so it's just important to understand this is what these companies are doing to make money off of your money. You should be doing this on an individual level.
Keeping it high level and not low level. We gotta set the stage right for Keys, for Director X, for everybody that we have to close out the show. So I'm gonna ask one more time, how we feeling tonight? It's a little bit better. All right, my name is BMXy. I'm gonna be your host for the second half of this show. Toronto, we appreciate you all being here in the presence of the Highest Lvl Tour. This is a tour that's not about the people that we have speaking on the stage. It's not just about them, I should say, but it's about those of you who are in the seats, having a transformational experience, not only tapping into the information, to the knowledge that you're seeing here on the stage, but also being able to tap in with each other, right? Because a lot of times when we travel, people ask, how do we get more involved? Our city really doesn't have something like this. We don't have, these events for us to go to. And I always say, look around. Y'all here right now, right? So y'all gotta tap in with each other, make sure that you're getting some context, make sure that y'all keeping it high level, because there's some high level individuals in the building, all right? Without further ado, I wanna introduce to the stage Mr. Director X. Let's get it, y'all. This is the highest level.
How's everybody doing?
We're good. Good.
Everyone's happy it's a black woman being Robin Hood, but you'll see about that. Yeah, the haters are real. And so why am I leading a meditation? I do think I should talk a little bit about what's so important about it and what that comes from. I founded this organization with my friend Donnell Adams, he's here, called Operation Prefrontal Cortex. And the mission is to reduce gun violence and heal trauma through meditation. And for, if you haven't heard of it, meditation, violence, how does that connect? Well, when they looked at the brain of violent and aggressive people, and even for yourself, when you get a little stressed, I had this moment the other day at the airport coming back from Egypt. Switzerland has an interesting airport. And I was getting stressed. Well, what's happening? Your prefrontal cortex, that is decision making. If you are stressed, it can shrink your prefrontal cortex. If you grew up in an abusive or neglectful house, your prefrontal cortex did not develop large enough. Your prefrontal cortex is decision making. So it shrinks your decision making. Stress, abuse, neglect. And your amygdala gets too big when you're stressed out. And when you come from an abusive or neglectful household or environment, your amygdala gets large. Your amygdala is emotional control. So large emotions and small decisions. And if you're in a fight or flight or freeze situation, your amygdala can turn off your prefrontal cortex. Your emotions can turn off your thinking, right? So meditation reverses that. Meditation gives volume to your prefrontal cortex and shrinks your amygdala. It brings down the emotions and brings up the decision-making process. The best way to think of meditation is like brain exercise. In the same way, if you were to get up and walk and run and do your push-ups and do your crunches, all the exercise I'm sure everyone in here does every day, right? Your body will change. The parts that are supposed to get smaller, the parts that are supposed to get bigger. The same thing happens with your brain when you exercise. Want to do some brain exercise with me? Yeah. Great. So this, as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, I want you to visualize a place in nature that brings you serenity and calm. Visualize it using all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Look out into this place of nature with all your senses.
Society has been programming us, shaping our very perceptions of reality itself. One that we did not choose, but one we must take over. There's no more waiting. Now is the time, because it's now or never. Open up your mind's eye to see reality the way that it is, not the way that you've been sold. Understand that you are one of the ones that have been chosen if you just choose yourself. Become your own solutions to every problem and every complaint, every excuse and every blockade that's been in your way. Vision gives one direction. When you're blind, you can never give yourself direction. So you fall. Instead of falling, stand up. Utilize the self-giving and governing power that you have within yourself to become a high-level observer. Not controlled by what you see, but one that controls what they see. That defines the meaning in their reality through every synchronicity that they come across. A divinely guided man and woman. High level forever. Stomach in, chest out, head up. How you teach a generation that don't know themselves? How do you give them the ability to be able to control the world? Not from an external point, but from an internal point. How do you teach them that the greatest enemy that they have ain't racism, ain't classism, ain't fascism, ain't poverty? No, it's the enemy that exists within. It's the self-war, the thought war that you go on a daily basis. How do you equip them with the tools to be able to win that war? You have to show them who they are so that they can customize their universe. We look at the technology and people talking that's the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is when you have a beast-like mind and don't have the ability to be able to control your nature.
How do you teach them to be able to encompass everything that they want to be, to take thoughts outside of their mind and see it in reality, and not be satisfied with mediocrity? You have to give them the militants of discipline. You have to give them the rules of order. You have to show them the possibility in your own actions. You have to be courageous every single day, even if you don't want to do it. You do it because you have to. They destroyed us, made us a desire-based society, always fall into the whims of your emotion without control of your mind. Teach, elevate, and you lead, and you accomplish everything that you are on a daily basis, and you operate with that God mind, and you live above society, and you become one of the rulers and not one of the rulers. That's the highest level. Go in your mind, design the world, execute it, build with your family, take your wealth, take your power, and quit waiting. Because ain't nobody gonna save you. You gotta save yourself.
Toronto, are we low level or high level? Are we low level or high level? High level. Can I get my laptop, please? I got a question for you all. If I told you outside of this building, everything in the world just crumbled, everything was destroyed, and we're the only survivors left, who are the first person that you think of, that you care about the most? Your cars, you're not worried about your house or any of those things. The mind automatically goes to how am I impacted the most? In your mind, you have that person that matters to you more than anything in the world. And if that person was gone, your world would be destroyed. My question to you, how much do you show that person that you really love them? How much do they know that if the world was to end, they would be the first person that you thought of? When was the last time you communicated with them? When was the last time you even told them that I love you? If you all can, do me a favor. Grab out your cell phones and send them a text. That is easier to fill a club than it is to fill an intellectual hub. For those who want to get some thinking so they can advance in their goals. Unfortunately, the reality that we have right now is most people do not care. They think they do. They think that, oh, I really want to be successful. I really want to have this goal. No, you only want it because somebody who really cares actually put in the work. You only want it because somebody has a relationship that they really care about and they actually making it work. So therefore you watch it, we observe it, we love it, we want it. But if it was really for you, you would do everything to your dying breath to get those things that you love the most in the world. So the question is, what are you willing to live for? What are you willing to die for? What would you stand up that nobody can stand in your way? Do you have that thing in your life that gives you so much passion, it invigorates your soul? No matter what you invited to, no matter what problem is going on, no matter who comes around you, that thing that you have in your mind that's so important cannot be taken away from you. You will not be taken off your pivot. And I'm not talking about this money amount that you have. It has to be something bigger than that. It has to be something that matters so much that it gives your life purpose, a reason you go out and do what you do every single day. Unfortunately, we live in a world where most people don't know what purpose even means. We live in a world where people are even taught sometimes to, chase your passion. But you have to develop a work ethic to get into a mastery, so even if you develop your passion, you don't become lackadaisical and lazy and procrastinate, destroying the thing that you say you love the most. Right now, there's somebody that has a very vast amount of knowledge and intellect and consider themselves to be strong and or powerful, yet they still can apply the things that they know. They thought patterns and they thought habits keep getting in the way of being the person that they truly believe they are. Their shadow self continues to pop up. That side of you that you sometimes hide while you're in public and put on the facade to make yourself look like someone that's supposed to be loved, someone that's supposed to be respected, somebody that's supposed to be cherished. But then when you go home, you're full of shame and disappointment. I want to get us to a point where we merge and we have a full vastness of our self-awareness, where we bring light to ourselves, and even in the darkness, we still feel that light. And even by ourselves, we feel the same joys when somebody is constantly in a social rhythm or we in a club. We have to get to a place where we tap into godliness and we have the ability to spark control. We have the ability to control our atmosphere. We walk around with the confidence of young gods. Unfortunately, we don't get this type of talk enough. We don't have enough people engineering these thoughts and these ideas that tell you go get you some power. Every time you go on social media, it's all about get you some money. It became a fake it till you make it, but nobody's making it. Everybody's worried about artificial intelligence in the hands of the most powerful, but the powerful already created it. They will be worried if you had a powerful thought or how you were going to use it. But unfortunately, we became sheep to the wolves instead of shepherds. Today is about the thoughts of the hereafter. The hereafter is what comes next. The hereafter is the future of our reality. You have the ability to walk in any room and shape it, to talk to any person, and plant the seeds that can change their life. To take any picture in your mind and rapidly produce it into reality. Not that it becomes instant, but you start the process. How many people are ready to start that process? What is the future? When does the future begin? Does anybody know when the future begins? It begins. When does your future begin? You know, as an individual that considers himself to be a futurist, you usually be talking about something 10, 20, 30 years into the future. But now, everybody that's a futurist has to talk about now. Because we're living in the time where fiction becomes fact. Where nothing stays in the imagination anymore. All the things that we thought were possible have begun to come into fruition. A few years ago, people was like, man, they promised us that this was gonna be the future. It was like, we ain't got no flying cars and jetpacks and AI and robots. A couple years passed and we got all of that, plus some. See, they call those signals. Signals are things that represent a change to come, right? Uber was a signal. It was representing a change in delivery models, representing a change in transportation, right? Those are signals to let you know that the future is about to change. Well, when the person is evaluating from a futurist perspective, when does the future begin? It's about when a major change or impact or shift happens. So when you evaluate when your future begins, you have to think about when is the next major impact or shift going to happen, or when was the last one that happened. See, everybody's not living in the future. Technology may be in the future, right? We may have a different standard of politics now, but I'm talking about your future. That thing that you possibly may be waiting 3 to 5 years to happen. Maybe something happens in 1 month. Maybe it's a marriage. Maybe it's this promotion you're waiting on, right? Maybe it's this business venture that you have in your mind that's about to get started. It could be anything, but it's important to be able to represent where you are in time, because everybody doesn't know where they are in time. And when you know where you are, right, and you can calculate when you are, now you have the ability to be able to take directions to get to your destination, which becomes your destiny. But when you don't know when you are and what cycle that you are in,
See, a lot of times we don't think about cycles. Women do. Every month you gotta think about your cycle. That time of the month comes, right? But men, we have cycles as well, not the same as a woman. But we have cycles to where we go through things in life and they grow us. We have cycles to where we go through things in life and sometimes we suffer a great decline. We have cycles where we are in the idea stage, right? Festering on these ideas on what we're about to do next. The problem sometimes is people don't like the cycle you in. They want you to be in the wealth stage. They want you to be in the building stage. They want you to be in the execution stage. But your cycle is important to you. You may be just test tasting and experimenting with life until you decide to get you a vision. And when it comes to you, now you're pregnant. Now that cycle is over. Now you're in a different cycle. You're in the cycle of developing the person that can come to terms with this vision. See, a woman can be pregnant 9 to 10 months. They said full time is really 10. But women be so ready to get over with, shit, at 9, sometimes 8. That's how we are sometimes with ideas. Sometimes we just gotta get this done. So sometimes we're ready to skip steps. And then sometimes the pain of birth is so hard. And a person don't really want to think about the responsibility of bringing this idea to life that they procrastinate. Procrastination is the abortion clinic of genius. See, when a woman is pregnant, she's about to go, they call it through the ring of fire when she's about to give birth. You have to literally go through a ring of fire where it's pain and it's intensity, and they call that the crowning phase when you can see that baby head about to pop out. But not a lot of people want to go through that pain and intensity, and sometimes when people start to go through that, you see entrepreneurs stressed out. They don't want to talk to nobody right now. They may disappear, then come back, bro, I finally ain't got over that, man, I was stressed. Man, but I finally got over that period, man, yeah, my business doing good, you feel me, life is good. Everybody is not willing to go through the pain, so some people live in the fantasy of their potential. They just imagine about it all day long. And that stimulates them enough that they don't actually have to do it. And this is becoming a new pandemic with men and women, to where they stay in the fantasy era of boyhood. They stay in the fantasy era of girlhood. And usually you have to go through some sort of pain or some sort of rites of passage to pop that bubble to where you start to live in reality, because the problem is we have conditioned parenthood to be about like we don't have any control or power over the future. Like we don't have the ability to grab these tools, educate ourselves, then move forward. There are so many people who are asking, bro, where can I find tickets? Like, you don't know the link in the bio. Come on, how are we still stuck at this intellectual level? I'm trying to figure out for the longest. That's one of those conundrums. No matter what I figure out, that one still hits me. And it be smart people too.
That person wanted a free ticket.
Just not at that. Not at that.
That's not smart.
So I want to deal with the mind for a second, and then we're going to get into some action items, some skill things, some AI, some future, some money talk, all that good stuff. So therefore, when you are giving these tools such as AI, you don't know how to use them. You're waiting for somebody to tell you how to do what? How to think. We go on social media and we see scrolling, we get influenced what other people think on subjects. Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to say on this. Let me see what so-and-so think. We got all this access to information, but we have little execution because people don't know what the hell to do with it. Man has become diminished. Technology has evolved while man has devolved. So while we think we are in a technological superior reality today, but it's also very complex because man's greatest wars with self and figuring out how to control his own mind today. How do I give myself in order to say, hey, Keith, I want to build this business. I want to do this thing. Now I need you to execute it. And then your habit's like, I ain't doing all that. Like, I feel you. Like, that do sound nice. We could take trips. We have money. You know what I'm saying? No problems. But I don't feel like doing it. I'm going to turn on this TV real quick and you just keep dreaming. Right? And we get stuck like that. So how does man get to that point of controlling himself? Does anybody know? Think. In Swahili in East Africa,
right? The mind is referred to as akili. It also refers to intellect or wisdom. It's not just about cognitive processes, but also about wisdom that comes from experience. The mind is considered an integral part of one's being, closely linked to one's character and moral judgment. So now we're getting more of a picture of a man, because you have to know that Eastern thought and Western thought are completely different. The way man judges himself in the Western world and the way that man judges himself in the Eastern world. The Eastern is more holistic, taking in the full being, right? The Western world is more ego, because we've been taught a standard of Sigmund Freud to follow a mind of a person who was a coke addict and who was crazy. But this is the metric system to which we use to study our mind and the knowledge of our mind, and is completely devoid of the spirit. So as a spiritual people, we become deprived. So now we end up following along the psychology, right, of white patriarchal intellect, coming up with our jobs, our dreams, and our ideas, only to be unfulfilled. You went and got all of these things. You built the thing that you said you wanted, but you don't feel like the man you want to be. To visualize and write things down, we're telling you to design your life, right? We're telling you to design your mind and design your habits. And then sometimes you find yourself so stuck into the patterns that you are in that you have to design on top of the old design. Because the thing about creating new habits is those habits don't disappear, but you design new habits on top of them that are more dominant, that now you can utilize to control you. So as my brother was talking about, the brain and things of that nature, most people do not study the brain. So, you don't leave high school or college and they have a manual and say, here's your brain manual, this is how you program yourself. But you should. Because most people have issues that can be solved by just having an understanding of the way that the brain works. And they can change their reality by having an understanding on the way that the mind works. So I want you to think about, what is the perfect design for you? And it can't be your current level. Don't be like, I got everything. You ain't got everything. Somebody thinking they got getting some money. I know Priscilla and them getting some money. I heard that real estate talk. They said, brother said, with a billion over there. Man, he designed his life pretty good, not gonna lie. So the question is, what is your life design, right? What is the way you want to think? Don't you want to have the ability, when you see things, you have this ability to calculate, you have this ability of master logic, you have this ability of great common sense? Don't you want the ability to, anytime something comes, you are the most creative person that comes to it. You can always tell people how things are made. You're quick-witted in your responses, right? Your brain can process information and you can retain that memory. You can step outside so confident. The world can see you, they can shine the brightest light, and you have no insecurities. How do you want to design yourself? Down to what you wear. When I sit down and I consult people, I have to look at, where do you want to be? Then I have to look at your wardrobe if that reflects who you say you want to be. Because sometimes, you say you want to be this influential millionaire, you wearing a hoodie. Now sometimes that could work, but it depends on how you design the interaction with the way people see you in that hoodie. Right? But for the most part, it won't, because you're creating too many barriers for people to see you the way you want to. Because now they have to get past something before they see the man or woman that you are. So when you're designing yourself, right, you have to make sure you design yourself with the least amount of barriers as possible. Now I say that, but I design myself as a black, militant, conscious Muslim man. Very masculine, intellectual. Right? Says what he wants to say, takes up space where he wants to take up space. At the time I was designing myself, the world wasn't ready for it. They had argued me up and down about my ideas and my concepts, but I understood that's only because I was designing a model that was ahead of its time. So when you're designing something that's ahead of your time, you have to be patient, right? So you're going to be the person that's forecasting, that's predicting, and you know that the time is coming that everybody's going to want the model and want to hear from you and your ideas. But if you don't stay diligent along that process of being ahead of your time, you may quit, and then when times come, like, man, I told everybody, I knew I was ahead of my time. That's not what you want to be. You want to be in time and on time.
The right idea at the right time equals success. And this is why it's important to understand when we are, right? What are the emotions of society? Right now, there's a lot of fear, but there's also a lot of curiosity. Each decade comes with a completely different set of emotions that guard the people on how they feel about the reality and the conditions that they live in. Now, the times that we live in, one can say, this is possibly the greatest time on the planet Earth to be alive when it comes to opportunities. Why? Because take this phone, for instance. One particular invention. You take this back 10 years, and you give it to a man or woman that knows how to utilize their mind. They can do anything in the world they want to. And I'm not talking about just any time. I'm talking about this 2023 phone. This 2023 phone got AI on it, right? This 2023 phone you can stream, right? This 2023 phone you can do business, you can design, right? You can do just about every single thing that we've had a million particular tools in the world for, and most men or women didn't even have access to those tools, particularly media. When we talk about media, media is probably the most important thing, that is the most underused thing on the planet. Media informs and controls and manipulates reality in the way we think about the world and the way we think about ourselves. It controls the psychology of the human being, and it aggregates you into a crowd thinking. So in a crowd, you can't tell the difference between the scholar and the fool, because they both doing the same thing. You listen to it for a second, go back home, and you get into the same rhythm and the same thought patterns, because that's the dominant that you have. I'm pretty sure a lot of you all wish that there was a person that would have accompanied you today, but you just couldn't get on the car. But when it's time to go hit that club, when it's time to be in that bottle section, you know what I'm saying? You're there. But when it comes to things that are connected to your higher self and your higher levels, they don't want to come with you. They're not into that. See, we got this game where we play about popularity versus value. Most people go towards popularity, right? Not things of real value and impact. We don't even know how to discern that anymore. We just know if so-and-so popular, I'm going. We never think about, what's the value I'm gonna get? How is this even in alignment with my life and my reality? We don't care no more because we demoralized. How do you do that? Number one, you have to get the parents to be so goddamn busy that they can't actually raise the child. They just babysit. So the child has to be raised by society so society can successfully imprint the programming, make a new consumer for them, right? That baby belongs to McDonald's. That baby belongs to whatever new corporation that they have right out there that wants to control the thinking and the spending habits and the trajectory of that baby's life. For life. Because they focus on how do we get consumers for life. Not for a moment. They target women when they're pregnant.
The baby belongs to
This is the game that they play. We just walk around in society, feeding into the delusions, not really thinking about it whatsoever. Because we're not thinking. Let's get to it. We're gonna do something today.
Yeah.
It's definitely now. But I want you to take more time to think about it. It's about, when does your future start? And the question becomes, when is that thing that's about to happen in your life begins? Right? When is that thing that's about to happen? I'm not talking about all the things that's already happened. When is that next big thing that creates a dramatic shift in your reality happens? It can be your thinking, for sure. Because if we start with the thinking, then we change everything around us. But you have to be somebody tough enough to deal with the reaction of a higher level of thinking. Because a lot of people go see you as an enemy. They go see you in opposition, because what happens is you start to have a light when you start to evolve. That light showcases everything that's going on in you, and you start to become aware of your parts, and therefore you start to grow. So therefore you start to illuminate this light. Because you become more self-conscious and more aware of who you truly are. But then when you get around other people, you can't cut off the light. So now it's exposing them too.
The same way it exposed you to yourself, and they like, bro, I ain't ready for that. Cut the lights off. Wow. You come around, eat better, talking about you vegan. 19 keys said, let's start thinking. We ain't time for no high-level conversations, man. Chill, bro. I'm trying to goddamn be in the shadows with this, talking about some real estate and SGBCGs and stuff. I don't know what y'all said. There's an acronym I need to catch you, y'all drop some jewels. Demonstration is the best inspiration. If you really want to change the people in your reality, just demonstrate it. But you have to demonstrate it with consistency because they're looking for you to fall off. And when you fall off, you become their excuse. So they be like, you know what, man, they don't need to know that. I ain't gonna know that either. So you can't allow, because when you start that journey, you don't realize, you don't just disappoint yourself, you disappoint that person that's watching that wants to also cross over, that wants to also evolve. So it gives you a reason higher than yourself to not be stuck in your same rhythm and your same patterns, and definitely don't broadcast to the world and keep failing. Because now you're destroying the hope that people have in their mind when they look forward in their environment. What does that say?
Who decides planetary affairs?
You do. Either you consent to go along, or you create your own, and you become a disruptor. I'm a disruptor on this planet Earth. We did a high level in Ghana. Man, they changed the whole visa requirements after that high level. Then they did it in Kenya as well. And the brother that, you know, I was interviewing, he just put up a poster, and I believe he might be announcing his presidential candidacy. So when you talk about planetary affairs, you can be dangerous or you can be safe. That's up to you. Me, I like being dangerous, right? Because that's what I do safe. Anything else, I don't really know how to do. So we go to efficiency versus effectiveness. See, one is about being good at something, and the other thing is about doing the thing that's most important, right? So when we talk about AI, AI is artificial intelligence plus natural intelligence equals enhanced intelligence, right? So now you have the ability to take your natural intelligence and the things that you think about and bring them outward into reality easily, just with a few strokes of the fingers, and you're done. You can go and type something and you can have some of the best research on the planet Earth, right? You can type in an idea of an image and all of a sudden it propagates on your phone. Generations before you would have died for this type of technology, just one of these features. But because we have fast consumption, we consume things so fast and then we're waiting on the next thing. How many of you all have utilized ChatGPT yet? How many of you all can honestly say you utilize it to its full scale ability?
We don't know it.
I mean, y'all have made some money with it. A couple of them, made a couple dollars. You can go to the warehouse.ai, it has a list of a whole lot of AI. So take a picture of that. So therefore you don't have to ask me where some of these tools are that we're talking about. Y'all got it? Yes. All right. All right, real quick, man. Y'all gotta share. Airdrop that to somebody.
Never mind.
So, we talked about media. And in media, everybody has the ability, everybody that has a business, whether it's a personal brand, you have to do media, right? Every single person, I don't care what your business is. Now, when we started out doing high-level conversations, we always implement a science to the way that we do things. We experiment, we have a hypothesis, we see if it works. If it don't, we go back to the drawing board. We never do anything by accident. We have to entertain, to educate, and then convert, right? So when you're working your conversion, then you start to look at the background of your analytics. All right, we converted at 3% or 5%. Then you know that if you double your numbers, that's 6%. You triple your numbers, that's 12%, right? It gives you a plan to follow. And then you just start to figure out, all right, how many more do I need to convert in order to create more sales? Now, when we were doing it, I understood that we have to do everything from a place of authenticity. That's my brand. When I get on stage, I only speak about the things that I'm passionate about so people feel my energy, right? I was taught by a lawyer. He said that the truth needs no rehearsal. People ask me, how do you know what to say? I'm just going to say the truth. I ain't got to think about it. Whatever's inside here, I'm going to say. If I got to remember it, it ain't the right thing to say. I'm going to fumble. I'm going to step up. So, when we talk about time empathy,
What is time empathy? Time empathy is really thinking about a person's time budget and being conscious of it. Everybody only has a certain amount of time that they can spend every single day that's allocated to different things. The same one we have towards spending. We spend spending habits, goes to transportation, it goes to food, it goes to entertainment, right? It goes to education. And we have that like a pie chart, and everybody has a different percentage that they spend. The same thing with time. With time, we may have a time budget allocated for Netflix, right? Every day you may have 30 minutes to an hour that you can spend your time. So I know that if I want to get somebody's time and I want them to replace it in their time budget and spend it with me, then I have to make something that's comparable to what they already spend their time on and make it more valuable. Conversation, a person may come for different reasons. I like to have at least 3 to 5 elements on why they're going to tap into this conversation. One could be the thumbnail, one could be the guest. I'm always going to be one at least, inshallah, right? And then another one could be the topics. Then another one may be the editing, right? So when a person comes in, I always make sure that we have multiple topics. But that's also another form of design and design language that's designing with empathy. Because the person wants to know what's inside the video before they watch, right? So it's the same way like listing ingredients outside on a bag of chips, you're letting people know what's inside it. So it helps them make a decision much quicker. Oh, he might be talking about relationships and this, that, and the third, and there's like 5 different subjects on there. So now maybe you didn't want to hear one topic, but the other topic got you. Maybe that's just another high level, but this guest, I don't know what they about to talk about, so that's another element. Then you look at the thumbnail so goddamn fly. Listen, click, we watching it. We got you by that time. It's about the elements that you add into it. So anything that you create, whether it's a product, think about the elements that you have that's going to grab someone's attention. And it tells you the reason why. Now you can go in here and change this, and they just rolled out a new feature where it has B-roll, where it adds pictures to the context of the words that you're speaking on, right? AI is a wealth transfer. The cost that it takes, the time that it takes for somebody to edit, and the cost it takes to pay somebody to edit and add in B-roll to your words, right? Sometimes costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So when you get one of these tools, you just got paid. You just got money that you don't have to spend, right? So I don't like when these tools come out and people don't use it because they don't understand the value of it, right? It's called opusclip.ai. Go to the warehouse AI and get all of that stuff. Right, so sometimes they be correct. Sometimes you get to go in there and change the caption or change your misspelling, right? But a lot of times it does its job. Now, I want you to be creative. You see how it has this green text? I don't want you using the same text that everybody uses, right? Because then people are going to get used to seeing the same type of content over and over. So even when you use these AI, think about how you can be original, which requires you to think. That's creativity. I talk about that in my book, Big Plug. I talked about this already. Design yourself, right? You know, you have to design yourself in a dominant way that erects barriers to competition. Erecting a barrier to a competition can look like multitudes of things. Sometimes it can look like your production value, right? You know, the next person can't get this. Sometimes it can look like your guest, right? If you're in real estate, you got a different level of clientele, right? You can, you know, present to them in completely different ways. You have a different network, right? Your goal is to create so many barriers, right, that it's hard for the next person to compete with you, regardless of what business that you're in, right? So you always operate within the best practices. So you look at the top people that's in whatever sector industry you're in, you study them, right? You take that blueprint, what the best practices are, so then you originate and see if you can do them better. Then you figure out, what are my barriers to competition? Some people can afford to compete with you because they got a little money. But then some people can never be with you, and your barrier to competition is yourself, your uniqueness, right? So pulling out all that is you, a person will have to clone you, but they still number 2, right? When you're number 1, you always win. And usually you're number 1 when you're the first to do it, and you maintain that consistency. I'm gonna skip some of these, but if you all want to take pictures. This one we're just talking about effectiveness, right? And the new formulas for reality. Work equals force times distance. The more force you apply, the more work you get done, hence the more productive I am. The effect of all work done equals power. Today, your means and your access has changed. So the force you can apply is no longer from physical labor. If you utilize machines, machines allow you to go much further than you could have ever done, because essentially, machines are like
having access to somebody with 1,000 degrees. Your goal is to figure out what to tell them to do, right? Most people wouldn't know how to manage somebody who's smarter than them, right? So you have to be a visionary. You don't have to be smarter than them. You have to be the one with a vision, and your vision has to be in detail so you can describe to them what you want, and then based on their expertise, they can execute. 3 Horizons framework. We're not going to be able to get through that. We talked about psychological wholeness. This is the full framework for psychological wholeness. If everybody wants to take a picture of that. This psychological wholeness lays down all of the different attributes that one needs in order to be a full, complete human being, from self-awareness, emotional intelligence, self-acceptance, resilience, personal growth, meaning and purpose, balance, authenticity, healthy relationships, and one of my favorites, spiritual well-being. It will be, that's a good question.
The end.
The man thinking. We talked about this. If anybody wants to do more study on pure eternus, right? A lot of you all will see that you may have this complex, or your child may have this complex. It's okay to diagnose yourself, because once you figure out what's in disorder, you can put yourself in order. So we have a man-boy versus girl-woman society. I want to get to some clips towards the end, actually. This one was important to me. Black ownership is up 50%. Now that's not true, but look good, don't it?
Oh, that was too funny. I don't know why anyone thought that. I didn't believe that.
Everywhere plastic, right? Because we talk, this is aspirational. We always try to have, we got such a violent, reflective society telling us all the things going bad. Black dollar don't circulate. Black people don't love each other. Black people killing each other. It's gender wars. We got heart disease. Damn. What's good? You feel me? So the idea was to have a campaign, right, where there's billboards around the country, the billboards around your city, and all of there are the positive aspirations and goals. Because I believe that once we become connected to seeing this, we want to contribute to it, right? We contribute to that frequency, then we become masters of our reality. If you can't see it, then you can't be it, right? So things that are not within our vision wheelhouse, we are blind to. We literally can't see ourselves doing that, right? So sometimes you can utilize the AI tool to imagine yourself doing something so that it's stuck in your head, right? And then you have this pull to where you bring it out into reality. It becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, this was something I drew in college, this paper up here at the top, right? I wasn't the best artist in the world. But there's this AI that allows you to take designs, right, and bring them to life. Wow. Right? It's called VisCom. It allows you to render sketches into industrial designs. So it makes everyone an artist, right? So you can take something that's just a handwritten sketch, it can be sloppy, and you can put it into VisCom, and then it can render you a sketch. And it doesn't just go to pictures like this. Me and my brother, they don't like this one, but they look crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it can actually go to shoe designs, right? It can go to product designs. I used to have to hire industrial designers thousands of dollars. Now I don't need to do that. Now I can just scribble something. So we definitely are in the future. Everything you don't have is because you built it out of an excuse. You can make an excuse or you can make a way. Every single day we get to have that decision, right? I didn't want to go work out. You made an excuse. I don't care what reason it was. You allowed yourself to fall into the excuse. Or, I'm tired, I'm still going. You made a way. How willful are you to your reality? How many people are going to decide to bring their needs into reality to where they get to live, they dream in reality? May your current level be your lowest level.
That's it.
We started this beautiful thing off with real estate, and we went into meditation. And I want you all to stop for a second right now as well. And if you can close your eyes one more time and just imagine your future self, this person that you want to become, how you want to feel, right? I want you to imagine the way they breathe, the way they walk, the way they talk. They even have the body that you want.
They're composed a little different. They're emotionally intelligent. Their bank account is flourishing. They have friends. They're healed. They don't have insecurities. They know how to exert themselves with communication. They know how to listen so that they have understanding. They have this ability to walk in a room and light it up. They walk with confidence and they're powerful. And I need you to ask that person that you see, how do I become you? What do I need to do? And I need you to imagine that conversation that you're having with a higher version of yourself so that you can get to that point of reaching your higher level. I've done this over and over and over and over and over throughout my life. And each time when I get a vision of that person I can see, that means it exists, but they're trapped. They're trapped until you free them. Your highest level is trapped. There's 1,000 different versions of you that you could have chose to become. Why did you choose this one? Why did you choose the person that you are now? Why not design a new one? Why not take that future self, converge with it, merge with it, feel that person, and that is no longer in a far distance in the future. As you open your eyes, that's who you are right now. And you start to implement the actions of that person that you want to be. You start to become that person, and they stop being so distant, and they start being inside. May your current level be your lowest level, and your next level be your highest level. Yeah. I'm 19 Keys, being a High Lvl Conversation.
Give it up for 19 Keys.
We high level, high level.
High level. High level. High level.
And YouTube family, just like that, our high level conversation night is over. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe because you're not going to want to miss the next vlog. Later.